Welcome back, everyone, to the Truth and Freedom podcast, where awakening begins with asking the question most people are afraid to ask. I'm your host, Dr. Dan Amzallag, and this is not just another podcast. This is a journey into awareness, courage, and truth. Now, in our previous episode, we talked about facing truth and how it becomes the doorway to real transformation. In today's episode, we're stepping deep into that journey. Now, because once you finally see the truth, your truth, that is, the next challenge becomes breaking free from the emotional patterns that have kept you stuck for years. And if you ever felt like no matter how hard you try, you keep hitting the same walls, this episode was created just for you. Let's start with a powerful image. Imagine you've been living in a room with walls made out of glass. You can see the world outside. You can see possibilities, relationship, dreams, experiences. But every time you take a step forward, you hit an invisible barrier. It startles you. You step back. You try again later. Same thing, same outcome. You begin to think the problem is the world, or maybe the timing, or maybe other people, when in reality, what you're running into is your own unprocessed fear, your own anxiety, your own patterns that were formed long before you ever realized they were shaping your life. Anxiety, fear, and self-sabotage are not signs of weakness. They're signs of old emotional survival strategies that never got updated. You learned them from when you were younger, when you needed them, when they protected you from emotional harm. But that as adults, those same strategies become prison instead of protection. Anxiety whispers, don't try, something bad will happen. Fear will tell you, stay small, it's safer. And self-sabotage says, if you destroy it first, at least you won't be disappointed. These inner voices feel like truth, but they're actually echoes from an earlier version of you who didn't feel safe. Now, most people think they're broken because they repeat the same emotional loop. But the truth is, your brain is not malfunctioning. It is repeating what it believes keeps you alive. That's why simply telling yourself, stop worrying, or just be confident never works. You cannot logic your way out of survival patterns. You have to understand it. You have to meet it. You have to bring it to awareness into it. Now, anxiety isn't the enemy. It's the alarm system. Fear isn't the enemy. It's the protector. Self-sabotage isn't the enemy. It's the escape hatch your mind created to help you avoid pain. Your patterns don't want to hurt you. They want to save you. But they don't know you've grown up. They don't know you're stronger now. They don't understand that the threats they once responded to are not here anymore. The emotional prison is built from outdated systems that were never meant to last this long. Now take a moment and imagine a child who learned early on that emotional expression led to punishment or rejection. That child grows up into an adult who has trouble opening up. Now imagine someone who learned that success creates jealousy or criticism. That person becomes an adult who procrastinates and undermines their opportunities. Finally, imagine someone who learned that love was unpredictable. They become adults who keep one foot in and one foot out of every single relationship they're in. Now, to break free, you can't simply push harder. You have to understand the architecture of your prison. Where did these beliefs come from? When did you learn to fear conflict? When did you learn to doubt your worth? When did you learn that good things don't last? So these answers aren't meant to blame the past. They're meant to reveal the origin of the pattern. Because once you know where the script came from, you can rewrite it. Now, one of the most powerful steps in escaping emotional cycles is recognizing the moment the patterns activates. That moment when your chest tightens, when your mind spirals, when you start predicting disaster, when you withdraw, when you lash out, when you overthink, when you shut down. That moment is the door. That moment is a chance to choose differently. You won't always catch it, but when you do, even once in your life, you interrupt the loop, and every interruption weakens the cycle. Anxiety tries to convince you that something terrible is coming. But the truth is, most of the threat your brain anticipates aren't happening in your life. They're happening in your memory. Fear tries to convince you that you can't handle uncertainty. But you've already survived every uncertain moment in your life. Self-sabotage tries to convince you that you don't deserve better. But that's not the truth. That's conditioning. You are not your patterns. You are the awareness behind them. You are the one who deserves the fear, the one who notices the anxiety, the one who recognizes the sabotage. And if you can observe it, you can change your relationship to it. Breaking free emotionally doesn't happen through force. It happened through understanding, through compassion, through choosing truth over fear, again and again. The moment you say, this is an old pattern, it's not me, I don't have to obey it, you reclaim a piece of your freedom. Now, there's a version of you who exists on the other side of these cycles. Someone who makes decisions with clarity rather than panic. Someone who speaks without rehearsing 100 outcomes in their head. Someone who trusts their intuition instead of doubting it. Someone who loves without fear of loss. Someone who takes action without self-destruction creeping in the back door. Now, today's episode is your invitation to meet that version of yourself. So before we close, I want you to reflect on something gently. Think of one emotional loop you keep repeating. Maybe it's pulling away when someone gets close. Maybe it's shutting down when life gets overwhelming. Maybe it's spiraling into self-criticism when you're actually doing well. Whatever it is, ask yourself, what is this pattern trying to protect me from? Because once you know what it's protecting, you can teach yourself a new way to feel safe. One that doesn't cost you your peace, your relationship, or your potential. You are not trapped. You are patterned, and patterns can be rewired. Freedom isn't about never feeling fear or anxiety again. It's about no longer letting them dictate your life. It's about choosing differently, one moment at a time, until the old walls of glass loses their power. I'd like to thank you all for tuning in to episode number 2. And in our next episode, we're going even deeper into the roots beneath the patterns, the core wounds that shape your identity and silently influence your entire life. If you're ready to understand yourself on a whole new level, you will not want to miss this one. Until then, my friend, stay awake, stay grounded, and stay free.